Hello and welcome. Tonight, President Bola Tinubu hosts the Super Falcons to presidential reception in Abuja, confers national honors on the team and its technical crew for winning the Women's Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco. The All Nigeria People's Party bloc in the 2025 coalition that birthed the APC threatens to defect en masse if President Bola Tinubu decides to drop Vice President Kashim Shettima as running mate in 2027. Ahead of the 2027 general elections in Nigeria, heads of ECOWAS network of electoral commissions meet with INEC on the implementation of the post-2023 election recommendations. And US President Donald Trump sets a new deadline for Putin to agree to a Ukraine deal.
And on business news, federal government orders banks to report monthly transactions above 25 million naira for individuals and 100 million naira for firms.
On sports news tonight, Nigeria's D Tigers extend unbeaten run at the FIBA Women's Afro-Basket to 26 games dating back to 2015 with another fantastic win against Mozambique in Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire.
From the nation's capital, federal government launches Diaspora Bridge platform, a digital hub designed to facilitate collaboration between diaspora academics and Nigerian tertiary institutions.
Nigerians are still in a celebratory mood over the accomplishment of Mission X. President Bola Tinubu has now conferred the national honor of the Officer of the Order of the Niger on the victorious female national football team, the Super Falcons, for winning Nigeria's 10th title of the Women's Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco. President Tinubu disclosed this when he hosted the jubilant players and other members of the team at the presidential villa. He also announced the award of the Naira equivalent of $100,000 to each of the 24 players and a 3-bedroom apartment for each player. And that's not all. The president also announced the award of the Naira equivalent of $50,000 to the technical team, much to their appreciation.
You have inspired millions, especially young girls, who now see the proof that their dreams are valid and achievable. You inspired me too. I've received this trophy on behalf of all Nigerians, and I say to you, thank you for the dedication, thank you for your passion, and thank you for reminding us of the strength of the Nigerian spirit. On behalf of the grateful nation, I hereby conferred on the players the 11-man technical team with national honor of officer of Niger. I hereby direct the allocation of 3-bedroom apartments for each of the players and technical crew in our Renew Hope estate. In addition, there is a cash award of the Naira equivalent of $100,000 each to the 24 players and the equivalent of $50,000 to the 11-man technical team. Once again, I congratulate you.
And there'll be more on this story in the course of the bulletin. But moving on now, the general elections may just be 2 years away, but a political storm may be brewing in the APC, as members of the All Nigeria People's Party, the ANPP, one of the legacy political parties that form the ruling All Progressives Congress, are threatening to defect massively to a political party of their choice should President Bola Tinubu decide to drop Vice President Kashim Shettima as his running mate in 2027. The national coordinator of the Association of the former ANPP members in the ruling party, Professor Vitalis Ajumbe, told journalists after a meeting of the group in Abuja that the ANPP bloc is being marginalized by both late former President Muhammadu Buhari and the incumbent President Bola Tinubu. The group is also demanding that President Tinubu and the APC should cede the presidential ticket to the ANPP bloc in 2031.
The Association of the former ANPP members hereby calls on our President, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to ensure that the vice presidential seat is made sacrosanct for the ANPP bloc in the governing APC for the 2027 presidential election, as millions of the former ANPP members across the country who voted massively for the current ticket you are serving will be disappointed if you choose another person outside the ANPP bloc in the APC as their vice president. ANPP bloc in the APC parades seasoned and tested politicians like the vice president of Nigeria, Senator Kashim Shettima, serving governors like His Excellency Professor Babagana Omara Zulum of Borno State and His Excellency Maimala Buni of Yobe State. If politics is truly about equity, justice and fair play, members of the ANPP bloc in the APC should have been given sensitive political positions under President Buhari as the second largest partner of this merger. We may be tempted to seek for greener political pasture elsewhere should the APC-led government, led by Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, reject us.
Convener of the Big Tent Coalition, Professor Pat Utomi, has emphasized that while oversight is a vital responsibility of the National Assembly, it should not come at the expense of passing critical legislation aimed at improving the lives of Nigerians. Speaking at a news conference on the state of the nation held today in Lagos, Professor Utomi underscored the urgent need for the National Assembly to have completed electoral reforms by now. He warned that heading into the 2027 general elections with an unreformed constitution would be a major disservice to the country. Professor Utomi also called for immediate legislative focus on pressing national issues such as insecurity. He advocated for a decentralized policing system involving community and state-level armed forces alongside the federal police. Describing this as a particularly difficult time to be a Nigerian, the political economist highlighted the urgent need for reforms across multiple sectors, including poverty reduction, agriculture, security, manufacturing, and anti-corruption efforts.
The majority of our population, in spite of the so-called urbanization trends, still live in rural areas. And 75% of them live in chronic poverty. In our view, assigning a new role to universities in agricultural extension is very important as a new thinking in the National Assembly about what they should be doing to improve the quality of life of citizens. To solve the problem of security, we must go to decentralizing security. Security at the local community level, security at the state level, or policing, official policing, armed police for local governments, armed state police, and the federal police. We cannot move forward if we don't speak the truth about policing. And even add to that, the forest rangers that Chibabulogbe proposed when he was Minister of Agriculture. Unless we can stop these constituency projects, the National Assembly will ruin Nigeria. This is my personal position. Unless we can stop this funny business of oversight that they call oversight, the National Assembly will ruin Nigeria. Not that oversight does not matter. Of course, oversight matters if they do oversight. But oversight is taken as an excuse for seeking corrupt gain. The state of a nation is terrifying, and citizens have a duty to approach the public square and engage in the public sphere. This is the purpose of democracy. We in the big tent are determined to so do.
Ahead of Nigeria's 2027 general elections, a delegation of heads of ECOWAS network of electoral commissions has met with the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to find out how far the electoral body has implemented their post-2023 election recommendations. Led by the chairperson of the Liberia Electoral Commission, the delegation says they hope to jointly discuss how to ensure necessary reforms ahead of the next elections in 2 years' time.
The chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, along with national commissioners, are attending this meeting with members of the ECOWAS network of electoral commissions for a follow-up on the implementation of the post-2023 general election recommendations. ECOWAS election observer missions were quite significant in the 2023 general election. At the end of that exercise, the ECOWAS election observer delegation made 37 recommendations spanning logistics, review of voting time, and the review of the number of voters to polling units.
We may be able to understand.
This delegation, led by the chairperson of the Election Commission of Liberia, is here to find out the level of implementation of the recommendations.
We've come to see how best INEC has implemented those recommendations. And we anticipate that during our engagement, we may be able to understand reasons for some of the issues that came out of the 2023 elections and how INEC was able to navigate in a way that it has found answers to those challenges that abound during the 2023 elections.
In his remarks, the INEC chairman gives an update on the implementation of the recommendations by the ECOWAS team.
For Nigeria's 2023 general election, ECOWAS made 37 recommendations for consideration by 7 critical institutions and stakeholders in the electoral process. Of these recommendations, 13 are addressed to INEC. Of the 13 observations specifically addressed to INEC, the Commission has considered all of them that require administrative action to implement while waiting for the conclusion of the ongoing legal review by the National Assembly on aspects of the recommendations that require legislative intervention.
The ECOWAS election observer delegation made 37 post-election recommendations in 2023, which they consider as key to ensuring electoral integrity in the country.
In part 2 after the break, Governor of Bauchi State, Bala Mohammed, initiates a peace meeting between farmers and herders in Darazo local government area of the state following the recent clash that led to the loss of lives and property. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, broadcasting live from Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. President Bola Tinubu hosts the Super Falcons to presidential reception in Abuja, confers national honors on the team and its technical crew for winning the Women's Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco. The All Nigeria People's Party bloc and the 2025 coalition that birthed the APC threatens to defect en masse if President Bola Tinubu decides to drop Vice President Kashim Shettima as running mate in 2027. Ahead of the 2027 general elections in Nigeria, heads of ECOWAS network of electoral commissions meet with INEC on the implementation of the post-2023 election recommendations. And US President Donald Trump sets a new deadline for Vladimir Putin to agree to a Ukraine deal. Proposed amendments are under scrutiny as stakeholders raise questions about their impact on access to information and democratic transparency. The executive director of the International Press Center, Mr. Larry Arokundade, made these remarks at the opening of a technical session in Abuja. Mr. Arokundade said access to information is the oxygen of democracy and warned that public officials often withhold information for personal interests. Our correspondent Benny Ark reports.
Civil society, media and legislative actors are meeting in Abuja to review proposed amendments to the FOI Act. The two-day session organized by International Press Center is bringing together media professionals, lawyers, policymakers and development partners like PLAC and Yaga Africa. The aim is to examine the amendments, strengthen access to information and improve reporting and compliance by government agencies.
The current reality is that a number of the 14 ministries, departments and agencies of government often escape public scrutiny because their details are not usually reflected in the annual report normally submitted by the Office of the Attorney General and Minister of Justice to the National Assembly pursuant to the oversight powers imposed on the ministry by Section 29 of the FOI Act.
We must ensure that the ongoing legislative process to amend the FOI Act does not become an exercise in weakening it. This is not the time for regression. We cannot afford to create a regime that criminalizes requesters or empowers gatekeepers.
Civil society representatives warn that some proposals could reverse the progress in transparency and citizens' rights. They said engaging now is key to ensuring the law is strengthened, not weakened.
The current proposals to amend the FOI Act is well-intentioned and commendable, but needs to address some critical concerns. Number one, preserving the spirit of the FOI Act. Any amendment must not roll back the progress made in entrenching transparency or compromise citizens' right to know. We should aim to empower oversight mechanisms, provide clarity on sanctions, and hold defaulting institutions to account.
What we should focus more is in the area of building capacities of journalists to know the content of the FOI Act. I think it is key. And above all, I think I most appreciate the Supreme Court recently. There was a judgment whereby at subnational level, state governors are not aligned in allowing journalists to use the FOI Act in trying to do their job. Now that we have such judgment, it shows that clearly FOI, no need of any domestication at any state level. It is meant for journalists to go there and do their needful.
Stakeholders agree that any amendment must protect citizens' rights to know and improve compliance by public bodies. Benny Ark, Channels Television News.
In Bauchi State, Governor Bala Mohammed has initiated a peace meeting between farmers and herders in Darazo local government area following a recent clash that led to the loss of lives, leaving several others injured. During the meeting, Governor Mohammed expressed concern over the escalating conflict between the two groups, largely stemming from disputes over land use. However, he assured the public that his administration is intensifying mediation efforts to restore peace. Our correspondent, Hajra Aliyu, tells us more.
Tension has gripped the Darazo community in Bauchi State as disputes between farmers and herders over cattle routes escalate. In a bid to calm the situation, Governor Bala Mohammed, accompanied by heads of security agencies and key government officials, visits the area to broker a truce. The Commissioner of Police notes that the conflict has been recurring despite efforts to address it.
About 3 weeks ago we had issues in Darazo local government, and we had to deploy a unit of mobile policemen that have been here since that 3 weeks ago, and they have been working around the clock to maintain the peace.
Last year, the Bauchi state government allocated 2,500 hectares of forest land in Darazu for farming activities to boost food production. However, competition for the land between farmers and herders has intensified, with both sides voicing grievances.
The forest is large enough for everyone, but while we are farming on the land legally allocated to us, we are suddenly surrounded by masked individuals carrying weapons. They attack us and beat us. The forest in Darazo is the only safe place left for us to graze, as most of the other forests have been occupied. Others from the Zamfara, Kebbi, Sokoto, and Kaduna all have moved into this forest.
Addressing the gathering, Governor Mohammed appeals for calm and warns against illegal encroachment and unauthorized land allocations by the State Ministry of Lands.
It would appear solution is on the way because we believe some of them are just based on mistrust and suspicion and of course the breakdown of law and order, and we are not going to take this. And the final word that we have given, we are going to look inward into our allocation. If it is going to cause problem, we are ready to reverse.
Meanwhile, following the peace meeting, the Deputy Governor inaugurates a high-powered committee to thoroughly investigate the recent clashes. The committee is expected to submit its report within 2 weeks. Hajara Aliyu, Channels Television News.
And just like we told you earlier, there's more on our lead story where the president today showered encomiums on the Super Falcons for winning their 10th title at the just concluded WAFCON in Morocco. Here's our correspondent, Larry Lassisi, telling us what transpired at the presidential villa. The report.
Excitement at the private wing of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, as Nigerians await the arrival of the newly crowned Women's Africa Cup of Nations champion, the Super Falcons. Also present here are some ministers, state governors, and other dignitaries. At exactly 2:26 p.m., the aircraft arrives. Exiting the aircraft, the captain of the team, Rashidat Ajibade, lifts the trophy to cheers of excitement. The team then leaves the airport for the presidential villa. They arrive at the villa and are led in straight into the arms of the First Lady. The reception follows at the banquet hall of the presidential villa. Present is the President, the First Lady, state governors, some ministers and aides of the President. The chairman of the National Sports Commission commends President Tinubu's investment in sports development and women's empowerment.
The Super Falcons panel is a fruit of the unwavering support of sports, your support to sports and for women. You have always believed that sports can unite us, heal us, and uplift our spirit in one of the major drivers of the economy. And today, we are seeing it happen.
For the captain of the Triumphant team, the victory is for all Nigerians.
This 10th title is for you, Mr. President. It is for Nigerians, it's for Super Falcons, and it's for every young child who believes and dreams to be on this stage someday.
For the First Lady, the team has just been phenomenal.
The skill you displayed on the pitch was nothing short of inspirational. I say to you all, well done. You never wavered and reminded the world why Nigeria remains a powerhouse in women's football in Africa.
The president does not hide his excitement and commends the team for lifting the country's spirit with their courage and determination.
You made us very, very proud. You have inspired millions, especially young girls, who now see the proof that their dreams are valid and achievable. You inspired me too.
And to the great joy of the team, he makes some announcements.
I hereby conferred on the players, the 11-man technical team with national honor of
The president also approved the cash award of the Naira equivalent of $100,000 to each of the 24 players and $50,000 equivalent to each technical team member. The chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum, Governor Abdulrahman Abdulrazak, also announced a donation of 10 million naira for each of the players and technical team member on behalf of the 36 governors. The captain of the team presents a trophy to the president. They also have a handshake with the president and the first lady, followed by a group picture. As these young ladies live here, they live as champions who have felt and heard the gratitude of a grateful president and a grateful nation. And they've made a promise that the next time they hope to be here with the World Cup. From the presidential villa, Lanre Lasisi, Channels Television News.
Still ahead on the news at 10, federal government orders banks to report monetary transactions above 25 million naira for individuals, 100 million naira for firms. And that's on Business News. Please join us again. Welcome back. Let's now head to the nation's capital, and Millicent Walker is standing by to give us the very latest from our British studios. Hello, Millicent. Great to see you.
Same here. Many thanks, Ayotunde. Well, the federal government has launched the Diaspora Bridge platform, a digital hub designed to facilitate structured collaboration between diaspora academics and Nigerian tertiary institutions. The Chief of Staff to Vice President Kashim Shettima, Mr. Ibrahim Hassan Hadejia, stated this at the launch in the nation's capital. He says the Diaspora Bridge program is a strategic mechanism crafted by the Ministry of Education to reconnect, realign and reimagine the power of Nigerian intellect and expertise around the world.
It's the official launch of the Diaspora Bridge initiative as ministers, governors and other critical stakeholders converge on the banquet hall of the presidential villa in Abuja.
Education, Professor Swiver.
The launch begins with an overview of the Diaspora Bridge program.
The Diaspora Bridge initiative marks a new chapter in how we view the Nigerian diaspora, not merely as citizens living abroad, but as strategic partners in nation building.
The essence of the program is highlighted in the goodwill messages.
My brothers and sisters in the diaspora, it's highly significant to note that this bridge innovation from the Ministry of Education is creating profound impact through academic capacity building, technology acquisition, and skills transfer for national development, engaging with our universities worldwide.
Nigeria's future is not in oil or gas or what we have under our soil. It is in the minds of the young Nigerians that dream to aspire to be the Bill Gates of tomorrow. And I believe with our talent, with our skills, we can do that.
The Diaspora Bridge aims to foster meaningful partnerships in education, research, innovation and the advancement of science, technology, engineering, mathematics and medicine.
Today, we bridging research, innovation, development and global engagement. We are institutionalizing a framework for structured engagement of Nigerian professionals in diaspora.
For too long, the collaboration between Nigerian-based professionals and our brothers and sisters in the diaspora has been fragmented by distance, by bureaucracy, and perhaps most critically by a deficit of trust. Today, through Bridge, we are laying the foundation to repair that trust with intentionality, transparency, and inclusivity.
After the speeches, the program is officially unveiled. Through the Bridge program, Nigerian scholars and professionals abroad can register as collaborators by submitting their credentials and indicating their areas of expertise, as the system is designed to match these experts with local institutions based on identified needs, enabling seamless and targeted collaborations.
Meanwhile, it's another initiative, this time the Presidential Initiative on Unlocking the Healthcare Value Chain and States under the Lafayette Partnership, a UK-Nigeria program. They've developed a roadmap to accelerate healthcare industry expansion at subnational level. Well, this roadmap was jointly created by stakeholders from 6 states, including the Federal Capital Territory, during a 2-day workshop in the nation's capital.
Representatives of states involved in the Lafayette Partnership, a UK-Nigeria collaboration focused on improving health outcomes, particularly for the most vulnerable populations. They are attending this review meeting to develop action plans to achieve the objectives of the program. The partnership aims to enhance health services, increase access to family planning, and improve the effectiveness and efficiency of both public and private healthcare systems.
The Lafayette program is a program with the UK aid under the FCDO arrangement. There is support that they've been given to a number of states in Nigeria, about 5 states. Borno, Yobe, Kano, Jigawa, and Kaduna states. So Lafayette program has been operating in there. Now with PVAC, we are collaborating. We've actually been in the last 2 days trying to identify areas where PVAC can support the states at the state level. As we keep saying in PVAC, 2025 and beyond is the year of execution and implementation. So we are looking at all the programs that we are doing in PVAC. Working with the states is a way to focus, but also to understand, what really needs, because at the end of the day, this is all about helping the Nigerian people, creating jobs, and this can be best done at the state level.
The 7-year program involves collaboration between the federal government, the UK government, and various implementing partners. Discussions at the meeting is focused on resource mobilization and sustainability, fostering state-level ownership, implementation, and coordination.
Routinely, when we are interacting with our stakeholders, they pay attention to 3 major issues. One of the key challenges is human resources, healthcare financing, and commodity security. So the way PVAC is packaged, we see the opportunity in addressing 2 things: commodity security and healthcare finance.
We're really glad that PVAC is really thinking about, how some of these ideas really begin to play at state level, how we can begin to bring this to life, to bring that, to use the health sector, to drive the economy in each of our states.
States are expected to establish the necessary healthcare infrastructure with the support from the partnership.
Well, let's take you back to Lagos, where over the weekend, the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Jumoke Oduwole, described Dangote Petroleum Refinery and Petrochemicals Company as a landmark project and a reflection of investor confidence in Nigeria. She made the comments while on an official visit to the complex. Receiving the minister and her delegation, President of Dangote Group, Aliko Dangote, seized the opportunity to thank President Bola Tinubu for the Naira for Crude initiative, describing it as a bold step capable of revitalizing the Nigerian economy.
The Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment is on a working visit to the world's largest single-train petroleum refinery and petrochemicals company, the Dangote Refinery in Ibeju-Lekki, Lagos, and is received by the President, Chief Executive of Dangote Group, Aliko Dangote. The minister is taken around the complex to see the gigantic structure housing petroleum refinery and is briefed on operations of the complex, especially on the need for Nigeria to tell her own story through strategic investments.
Make sure that the country has a very strong financial, strong manufacturing, and strong agriculture. Because if you don't have these 3, you can't get off the ground. And that's why when you say Asian tigers, that's what it is. And we have to sell our own story.
6 companies who do this pre-order,
but we did it. So we are much more proud that this is a great achievement for us.
After the briefing, it's time to see other parts of the $20 billion complex, which houses a laboratory, control rooms for fertilizer, and petroleum plants. The minister is impressed by what she's seen so far and assures Dangote Group of government support for not just the group for what it's been able to achieve, but assisting the Nigerian industrial sector to grow.
Our support as a government, whatever he needs, how to encourage other domestic investors, that really President Tinubu is committed to Nigeria first. And so we're not just saying it as a rhetoric, we're putting our attention and our listening ear where our energy is.
Alhaji Aliko Dangote praises President Tinubu for the Naira for Crude initiative and the Nigeria First policy, describing them as bold and transformative steps capable of revitalizing the Nigerian economy.
We must really thank His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for making sure that, to make sure that things are getting better in terms of crude, supply. Also is insisting that all our crude supply must be in Naira. Because for us to really be able to satisfy the market, which we have the capacity, we must get the crude in Naira.
This visit by the minister is believed to be the most strategic, as it is the government arm that oversees the Nigerian industrial sector.
Well, that's it from Abuja. It's back to Aitunde for more on the news at 10.
Thank you so much, Millicent. 15 years ago, Olam Agri embarked on a journey that will reshape Nigeria's food landscape through the acquisition of Crown Flour Mill. Today, that journey is celebrated as a milestone of innovation, partnership, and purpose. At a vibrant anniversary celebration held in Lagos, the company reflected on its impressive strides in the food, feed, and fiber sectors. The event honored exceptional employees, celebrated loyal distributors and partners, and showcased Olam Agri's enduring commitment to excellence.
It's been 15 years since Crown Flour Mill was acquired by Olam Agri. As the company celebrates this milestone, the managing director in this exclusive interview shares some of the key accomplishments and how Olam Agri's extensive experience has influenced CFM's overall performance and growth since the acquisition.
We created a very strong business model here, and the success of the business model gave confidence to the group to invest a lot more in Nigeria. We subsequently made 2 more acquisitions in the wheat milling business. We bought the wheat milling business of Boa and subsequently the wheat milling business of Dangote in 2019. We've been able to grow the business by 10 times in the last 15 years, and we are now the leading wheat miller in Nigeria. So we are very proud of what we do, and I think we made a big contribution to food security in Nigeria. We've created a lot of jobs, and we've partnered with communities, both the farming communities and the other local communities.
Further to the commemoration, staff and partners of Crown Flour Mill turn up for a party in a lively atmosphere full of camaraderie. As part of the celebration, long-serving staff between 10 and 40 years and those who have gone above and beyond in contributing to the company's success are honored.
And doing greatly.
The company has been taking very good care of the employees. The employees are happy, and this has reflected in the performance of the company year in, year out.
It's an emotional day for me as well, because when you look at where we actually came from and where we are today, it's really something to really celebrate about.
Partners also expressed excitement about the impact on their businesses since the acquisition.
Doing business with Olam, have never regretted it. They are good, they are helpful, they support us in every way in running the business. We started very small, but now I am so very proud of Olam.
As a business,
we have grown alongside with Olam Crown Flour Mills. And personally, I have been tremendously blessed because I got trained as a baker from the school. That's the Olam baking stove.
The event culminates with the cutting of a beautiful decorated anniversary cake. CFM commenced milling operations in 1981, and since acquiring the business in 2010, Olam Agri has invested and grown to become the leading wheat milling and pasta manufacturer in Nigeria and one of the leading millers in Africa.
Welcome to Business News. Now, the federal government has directed banks and financial institutions to start reporting monthly transactions above 25 million naira for individuals and 100 million naira for companies to the tax authorities. New tax law takes effect from January 2026 when Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, will become the Nigeria Revenue Service, NRS. Banks and other financial institutions must also file quarterly reports on live transactions and customer details covering both new and existing clients. The policy is aimed at improving financial transparency and curbing illicit flows. Now we're checking on the domestic equities market, which resumed a new week with bullish sentiments as markets index hits a new high. Inicha Mekwa tells us more.
Hello everyone, welcome to the stock market report. Well, today the NGX has sustained the green color, and it's mostly because of the market mover MTN Nigeria. MTN Nigeria gained 10 naira 60 kobo today, close at 410 naira 60 kobo. Been doing this for a bit and it seems to still be on that drive. Now, it wasn't all green when we look at the sectors, but it's still good at the end of the day because we know the banking counter, for instance, last week did so good that today I guess investors just decided to take a bit of profit. So that brought the counter down 0.69%. When we look at the consumer goods, it's still on a positive trend because of stocks like Unilever and a whole lot more. International breweries also contributed to this. For oil and gas, it's also positive. O&O, Japan Gold, they gained today, and so the counter is up 0.22%. Now, at the close of trade, more reasons to celebrate for investors at the NGX because we see a new record high for the all-share index. The all-share index has gone from 134, which is opened with, to 135,166.51 after the all-share went up more than 0.5%. And talking about the money value, market cap is now at 85.455 trillion naira. So it's still a whole lot of reason for investors to flock to the NGX and a good reason for the bull to smile.
That's Business News. It's back to Ayotunde.
Thank you, Will. Sami Puzi is up next with our international news and around the world in 5 from our London studio.
Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Another 14 people have died of malnutrition in Gaza in the past 24 hours. That's according to the Hamas-run health ministry. The deaths were announced as Israel pauses military operations in parts of Gaza for 10 hours per day to allow more aid to be distributed. Israel says more than 120 trucks of aid were delivered by the UN and others yesterday, and images show more lorries are entering Gaza today. The UN has welcomed the move, but says it needs to be sustained. Some aid was also airdropped into Gaza at the weekend, but it was a tiny fraction of Gazans' daily needs.
There's only one way to reverse this trajectory, and that is by enabling sustained and unrestricted flow of aid into Gaza and enabling us to carry out our work.
Cambodia and Thailand have agreed to an immediate and unconditional ceasefire following peace talks.
For not only being present, gracious enough.
Malaysia's leader, Anwar Ibrahim, said the ceasefire would take effect from midnight local time, adding this is a vital step to de-escalation and a restoration of peace and security. At least 33 people have been killed and thousands displaced since the 24th of July, when fighting escalated following months of tensions. The talks were held after US Donald Trump asked both nations to agree to a ceasefire as a precondition to their respective trade talks with Washington. After weeks of tense negotiations between their top trade officials, the European Union and the US have finally struck a framework deal, and it comes on the eve of America's latest round of tariff talks with China. Ultimately, it took leaders from Washington and Brussels to sit down face-to-face to reach Sunday's agreement.
I think it's the biggest deal ever made. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
The deal matters to both sides because so many businesses and jobs depend on what the EU calls the world's largest bilateral trade and investment relationship.
Indeed, basically the European market is open. It's 450 million people. So it's a good deal. It's a huge deal.
Yeah.
Was tough negotiations. I knew it at the beginning, and it was indeed very tough, but we came to good conclusions for both sides. So again, congratulations and many thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The UN and the military say more than 40 people have been killed in an attack by an Islamic State affiliate in northeastern Democratic Republic of Congo. Most of them were worshippers taking part in a night vigil at a church in the town of Komanda when they were attacked by allied Democratic Forces fighters. 9 of those killed were children. Nearby shops and businesses were looted and set fire. The ADF emerged in Uganda in the 1990s, accusing the government there of persecuting Muslims, but is now based over the border in Democratic Republic of Congo, where it regularly attacks civilians of all religions as well as Uganda. 3 people have been killed and several others badly hurt after an overflowing sewage shaft caused a landslide that derailed a passenger train in southwest Germany. Prosecutors said the train crashed near Stuttgart on Sunday following heavy rain in the area. The deluge is believed to have caused an overflow, triggering a landslide on the banks running next to the tracks. The train driver, another rail employee, and 1 passenger died, while 41 people were injured. A 4,000-year-old handprint has been found on an ancient Egyptian tomb by curators preparing for an exhibition. The discovery was made by University of Cambridge researchers on a soul house, a type of clay model in the shape of a building typically found in burials. The complete handprint, which dates between 2055 and 1650 BC, has been described as a rare and exciting find. The ceramic will go on display as part of the university's Made in Ancient Egypt exhibition at the Fitzwilliam Museum on October the 3rd. And the King has led a chorus of praise for the Lionesses after their European Championship victory on Sunday. The England women's football team won the game on penalties, with Prince William and Princess Charlotte who watched the match from the stands, writing in a post, "What a game, you are the champions of Europe and we couldn't be prouder of the whole team. Enjoy this moment, England." And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel studios in Lagos.
Thank you, Simon. Welcome to Sports News. Nigeria's D Tigers have extended their unbeaten run at the Women's FIBA AfroBasket to a record 26 games dating back to October 2015. The reigning Women's AfroBasket champions beat Mozambique 60-55 in their second Group D game at the ongoing championship in Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire. The Rivers State government has hosted and rewarded its sports ambassadors who represented the state at the 2024 National Sports Festival tagged Gateway Games, and Rivers Angels who won their this year's President's Federation Cup in Lagos. During the ceremony in Government House, the Rivers State government presented plaques of recognition in all sporting categories for gold, silver and bronze medals. That Sports is back to you, Ayo.
Thank you, Chris. And the main news again. President Bola Tinubu today hosted the Super Falcons to a presidential reception in Abuja, where he conferred national honors on the team and its technical crew for winning the Women's Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco over the weekend. That's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Ayo Tunde Balogun. Have a good night.